Hey there, my name is Luke Rosa, and I'm here to give you a brief preview of the Students of History World History Curriculum for when you become a subscriber. So studentsofhistory.com, you go here, and up on the top right, you might need to log in if you're not logged in already, and click on Login or My Library. It's attached to your email, and you'll get a password sent to your email. If you ever forget it, just scroll down to the bottom, click Forgot Password, and it'll be right there. And then you'll see the curricula that you had. You might have US, World, Civics, or a combination thereof. Click on that, and you are taken to the curriculum. So world history is going to cover a huge span of time from prehistory all the way up through the modern world. And these would be your units that you would cover throughout the year. Each unit is going to have the lesson plans and resources right in there for you. You might want to start out with introductory resources here with a welcome to world history portion that's going to give you a brief introduction. There's a syllabus there that you can use for your course to edit. You'll always see the downloads here on the right-hand side. They'll tell you based off of this little graphic here, whether it's a Word file, a PowerPoint, or a PDF. And then on the left-hand side will be your introduction. There'll be links to Google Docs, videos in there, brief instructions about how to use anything are always in there as well. If you are starting off the school year, there's some back-to-school activities here that you might want to use for your classroom as well. And then some other resources that you can use throughout the year, including project-based learning, which is great for any unit, different projects that can go with any unit. And you can see the description of all of those here as well. These are going to be some great activities to use just to change things up that don't necessarily fit into any one curriculum. All right, but if you're teaching world history, you might start at prehistory, or if it's world history 2, you might start somewhere in the middle of the year. All these units are going to be formatted the same though. So click on any one you want to begin with. Each one is broken down by day. Day 1 all the way through this unit is 7 days. This is based on a block class schedule, 90 minutes. So if you teach on a shorter schedule, you might need to break these days down into 2. Each unit will always have a review day that you may want to use. You may not want to devote a whole day to review. That's up to you. And then culminating with an assessment. I also added distance learning hubs to each unit. So if you are going to be using distance learning this year, hopefully not for your sanity's sake, there is a whole set of resources designed specifically for distance learning here with videos, digital activities, Google Doc packets, and specific activities there that'll work great for distance learning. But otherwise, you'd start with day 1 of the unit. There'll always be downloads on the right-hand side that you can use for your class. There'll also be generally Google Doc versions, and these would be editable Google versions linked here on the left. So there is a PowerPoint that you would go through with guided notes to your students, or you could use the Google Slides version, or we call them flipped classroom lessons. These are fully recorded video narrations of the lesson with the teacher going through the PowerPoint and describing each aspect of the PowerPoint there. And these, if you needed the closed caption, you could click on closed caption, and that way students can follow along as well with that flipped classroom video. You'd also have some other recommended videos that could be good for you there. The digital notebooks are linked here. And there's also, I highly recommend some of these study guide packets, which are great for covering the entire unit. There'll always be an introductory reading, a map activity, vocabulary activity, timelines, things like that that are great for kids. And each download will always have the answer key attached at the end. So you have that answer key there. And then you'd go through the whole unit up until your assessment. The assessments are going to be available. There'll be a couple different versions there. So if you have one version for students and the next one for retakes, if you want to use a retake, or if a student is absent, you want to give them a different version. And there's also Google Forms version, so the kids can take the tests directly online if you choose that option, and that would be linked there. Once you finish the unit, you move on to the next unit, and you'll see they are organized the exact same way, with the days throughout the units, all based on your state standards there, culminating with reviews, assessment, and the Distance Learning Hub. One other thing that I should point out here is up at the top, you'll see textbooks linked. These textbooks are great for simple readings that you can assign throughout the year. These are publicly accessible, so they don't need to be logged in to access the textbooks. You can give these links directly to your students, and they're all based on the same curriculum. They are aligned perfectly with the interactive notebook activities, so you can have kids completing a notebook page while they go through the readings. And each reading, you'll see, very simple. It's like a one-page reading. There's some graphics there that go along as well. And the kids can just kind of click through and use these to follow along with the curriculum. You could always print these if you wanted to. Use them, print them for your classroom as well. It's super easy to do that. Otherwise, you just go back to your curriculum and continue on through it. There are tons of great activities here all the way through. You're getting into, modern world history here and the Cold War. Some of these units will be larger than others. The Cold War unit is a fairly long one since there's a lot that went on in there. But you'll see every day throughout the unit is always the same, with the downloads on the right-hand side, activities on the left with videos, Google Docs, editable activities there that you can select from. Every classroom is different, so what might work best for you in your room might not work with somebody even down the hall. So there's options there to pick from, whether it's analyzing primary sources that might be a little more difficult, or hands-on, foldable interactive notebook activities that might work for another teacher. But I tried to include a variety to help you find what's best for you and your students, but they're always perfectly organized to go right along with the curriculum. I hope that answers a lot of your questions about Students of History. If you ever do have more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can get me through email. It is luke@studentsofhistory.com, and I'll be happy to help answer any questions that you have as you continue all the way through. Just a last thing, there are some review materials for the end of the year, some games, some review packets, and then some final exams that you can pick from as well. All editable, as you can see, Word docs when you get to the end of the year and that exciting time. All right, thanks so much for following along here, and please enjoy these resources and happy teaching.